Hello, my name is Caitlin Hepworth and I'm a visual artist and teacher from the Blue Mountains just outside Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. I was the lucky recipient of the 2018 Robin Brett Scholarship, which enabled me to travel to the Chicago Mosaic School in 2019 to learn from Maestro Verdiano Marzi in a course titled Modern Expressions 3D. As part of my scholarship, I was hoping to join you at the Summer Conference in 2020 in Tucson, Arizona. However, the world has changed and that was not to be. So instead, I'm here with you today, coming to you virtually with the aid of technology from my studio to tell you a little bit about my experience. The Modern Expressions 3D course fitted perfectly with my current stage of art practice. I have an undergraduate degree in sculpture from the year 2000 and a postgraduate degree in visual arts teaching from the year 2003. And I have been working predominantly in sculptural mosaic since 2012. My current goal is to create more nuance in my work and to increase the energetic connections between the application of tesserae and the sculptural substrate. Who better to learn from than our tutor, Maestro Verdiano Marzi, a world-famous mosaic artist and teacher who I have admired from a distance for many years. It has been my dream to learn from him, and receiving the Robin Brett Scholarship has enabled this to come true. For those of you who have not met the Maestro, he is a gentle, kind, wise and philosophical man with a highly tuned sensitivity for humanity and the wonderment of nature. He honours the mosaic process every day and often comments on its magical qualities. Maestro Verdiano understands English but speaks in French and Italian. I had been learning Italian in the lead up to my trip, but I still have an awfully long way to go. Despite this, the Maestro was able to easily communicate with the class through the help of our translator, Sue Gianotti, who is an esteemed artist and tutor in her own right. Sue provided a fantastic and informed linguistic bridge between the class and our tutor. The 5-day course was broken into 2 parts. The first part of the course was spent focusing on the development of the sculptural form, and the second part of the course was focused on the application of the mosaic. Each student's concepts had been developed prior to the workshop, with students submitting ideas in the form of imagery and sketches. My plan was to work on the concept of flight as realised through the wing of a bird. The workshop approach to learning was both individual and collaborative, with students learning different construction techniques and problem-solving strategies by following the processes undertaken and challenges faced by others in the group. This enabled us to see others working in completely different ways, with substrates being made out of wood, foam, steel mesh and fibre mesh. We often paused and gathered to discuss an individual artwork, with Maestro taking every opportunity to teach something to the group. I made my substrate out of steel mesh, and by the end of the first day, I had created my basic form, which I was able to evaluate with a series of photographs. On day 2, I filled my form with high-density foam. I drilled and stitched in a PVC tube to hold the rod from the base, and I applied the thinset and fibre mesh to the form and treated the edges. I also began to think about my colour palette and to consider various andamento applications. The selection of materials available to us in the studio was abundant. The final 2.5 days of the course were spent working on the mosaic elements. The Maestro worked with us individually, discussing what style of andamento may be appropriate, firstly to our concept and secondly to our form. No one completed their mosaic sculpture, but that was not an expectation held by the school or any of the participants. One of the most valuable aspects of this course was the morning lectures. We started each day with approximately 2 hours of lectures on various topics, from history to the Maestro sculptural commissions, we talked about andamento, we talked about material selection, light and reflectivity. All students were fully engaged in these sessions and furiously taking notes and drawing diagrams for future reference. For me, these morning lectures were the most enjoyable and informative part of the course, and I could have sat and listened all day. The workshop concluded with a substantial 4-hour critique held in the gallery, where each student presented their work in progress for viewing. Each participant spoke about the work, offering comments and thoughts on the form, the colour palette and the concepts conveyed. We remarked on how the forms spoke to us individually. This was an interesting process, as often the interpretations of others were quite different from our original intentions as artists. Finally, Maestro Verdiano shared his thoughts on aspects of each work and made suggestions for future consideration. As a teacher of Mosaic and an active member of our Mosaic Association, I will take every opportunity to pass on skills learned to my students and our association members. So many Australian mosaicists were beside and behind me on this journey and were very, very keen to hear about my experiences. My learning always extends to my students' learning. After an immersive experience such as this, with a world-class tutor, I think it's essential to allow yourself some time to assimilate the learning. This happens both practically, when in your work you slowly decide which elements you may incorporate into your own art practice, and mentally, as you have a chance to reread your notes and to ponder the conversations and theoretical content of the course. I look at learning as a huge continuum. I have had the great honour to learn from many different teachers over my artistic life in many different art forms. Each teacher offers something different, their own unique gift. Maestro Verdiano Marzi is certainly a gift to Mosaic, with his intuitive and spiritual connection to Mosaic practice. It was my absolute pleasure to meet Verdiano Marzi and to learn from him during my time at the fabulous Chicago Mosaic School, which was generously facilitated by the Robin Brett Scholarship.